Guess who's back again. Barack Obama's back, and he's really pathetic. I just wrote that myself, totally off the cuff. What do you think, huh? That's a pretty good parody. Just like Barack Obama has become a Saturday Night Live skit of himself. I love when that happens in politics. I love when these political elites all of a sudden lose their elite status and they just become, laughable, washed up has-beens with no political clout whatsoever. What's up? This is Mark Kaye Saves the Republic. Hang on one second. I'm trying to pull this up so I don't know what's happening here. It's Mark Kaye Saves the Republic, and I appreciate you being here. I appreciate you tuning in. We have a whole bunch of people, Patriots from around the globe, who are joining us. What do I hear? My phone. Let me turn that down. Patriots from around the globe who are joining us on all kinds of various different platforms. We appreciate it. And I am broadcasting live from Patriot HQ, located in the heart of Mar-a-Lago in Jacksonville, Florida. And we're very, very excited that you've decided to join us today. We've got a lot to talk about. We're going to get to the Barack Obama stuff here in just a minute. We're going to get to all of the Kamala Harris implosion news, which is happening. That's all really the big news we've been talking about is this massive implosion of Kamala Harris's campaign. And it was inevitable because you can't build anything without a strong foundation. And Kamala Harris has no strong foundation. She has no foundation whatsoever. The foundation she has, a bunch of lies, basically. And now we're seeing that the entire structure is coming tumbling down. And it's kind of a glorious thing to see. Donald Trump, on the other hand, has had nothing but a foundation. He's had a foundation that he set not only in his first campaign in 2016, but as in 4 years in the White House. And that's the big difference. When you have 4 successful years in the White House, you can use that to go out and sell yourself on a second term. When you have no successful years in the White House, and in fact, no votes to speak of, no support from anyone in your own party, it makes it very difficult. And so what Kamala Harris has done now is she's gone out and she's tried to get help from the superstars of the Democrat Party. Only here's what we're finding out about the superstars of the Democrat Party. When the Democrat Party starts to falter and fail and lose its luster, when the Democrat Party becomes the party of kooks and weirdos and yo-yos and knuckleheads.
Knucklehead at times.
Yeah. Then all of a sudden the rest of the party, if you're part of the circus, it doesn't matter. You can put on a suit and tie and refuse to wear the makeup, and people are still going to see you as a clown.
And I'm a knucklehead at times.
Or a knucklehead in the case of Tim Walz. And that's what's kind of happening with Barack Obama. Barack Obama was brought out by the Democrats, by the Kamala Harris campaign. Barack Obama is the emergency, button that you have to break glass in charge of emergency, or in case of emergency. Barack Obama is the emergency. You just smash the glass, you hit the Barack Obama button, and whoop, whoop, he's supposed to come to your rescue. It's not working this time. Barack Obama brought in his message of hope, but it turns out it's a message more of hopeless, which is what we're seeing in the Kamala Harris campaign. Here's how he started with a rant and rave about Donald Trump. However, I kind of thought he was talking about Kamala Harris for a moment. Listen to this.
The tweets in all caps, the ranting and the raving about crazy conspiracy theories. You have the 2-hour speeches, word salad, just, it's like Fidel Castro. Just on and on. Constant attempts to sell you stuff. Who does?
Yeah, that was, by the way, the word salad was that was him trying to take something that is commonly used to describe Kamala Harris and turn it around and make it used to describe Donald Trump. And that's something that is just, they've done it before when she tried to steal the no tax on tips. That was, the kind of the interesting thing. They tried to say that Donald Trump is going to throw all of his political adversaries in jail. Donald Trump is going to use the FBI and the CIA and SEAL Team 6 to execute his political rivals, which is an ironic statement for anyone in the Democrat Party to make, because the Democrat Party is actually actively doing that to Donald Trump as we speak. Not using SEAL Team 6, however, using other assets, various assets, to do whatever they can to get rid of them. But they're trying to take all of the negatives for Kamala Harris and turn them into negatives on Donald Trump, and it's just not working. You can't compare Donald Trump to Fidel Castro when Kamala Harris is the communist. We know she's the communist because the New York Post told us. She unveiled, remember that $1.7 trillion economic plan that included government price controls? Man, those government price controls went away super quick, didn't they? They went away. They went away so fast. Those government price controls went away faster than Tim Walz left the stage after the VP debate. Man, that VP debate was over. Bam, Tim Walz was in the pizza parlor trying to get a 16-inch sausage for him and Gwen. JD Vance was in the spin room talking about, important stuff like politics and the economy and how we're going to become energy independent and how we're going to get rid of all these illegal immigrants and how we're going to have the most massive deportation effort in American history. How we're going to save the country. Tim Walz was like, I'm out of there. Same is true of Kamala's price control plan. We have not heard hide nor hair of the Kamala Harris $1.7 billion economic price control communism plan since that New York Post headline came out. Doesn't mean she's forgotten about it, just means she's no longer campaigning on it. She's getting Barack Obama out there. And you know what else she's doing? She's trying to get Barack Obama to claim that Democrats are the reason that the Donald Trump years were so salad. Democrats are the reason that the Donald Trump years were so great. Remember 4 years ago when we had low gas prices and we had lower taxes, we were all getting tax breaks and everybody was living large? Barack Obama he's taken credit for that.
And the reason some people think, well, I don't know, I remember that economy when he first came in being pretty good. Yeah, it was pretty good because it was my economy. We had 75 straight months of job growth that I handed over to him. It wasn't something he did. I had spent 8 years cleaning up the mess that the Republicans had left me the last time.
So all of a sudden, Barack Obama's speech in favor of Kamala Harris becomes a speech about how great he is. I wouldn't expect anything else. Barack Obama comes in and he's like, look, I'm not saying Kamala Harris is better than Donald Trump. I'm saying I am. I'm better than Donald Trump. 75 years of job growth, or consecutive months of job growth is what Barack Obama is claiming. 75 consecutive months of job growth. That's why we had that great economy. It wasn't Donald Trump's fault. And now I'm here to tell you that, well, Kamala's not going to make it better, but Donald Trump sure won't.
Or a car seat. Or diapers. I remember buying diapers. I remember the first time I went in the store, right after Malia was born. I was like, what? That's how much diapers cost? I remember changing diapers. You think Donald Trump ever changed a diaper?
I'm pretty sure, by the way, when he said he remembers changing diapers, he's talking about Joe's. I remember changing diapers. Joe Biden walked in my office and said I had an accident. Sorry. By the way, Barack Obama never bought a diaper. That guy never changed it. That guy's lying about everything. He's lying the way Kamala Harris lies. They try to make you think that they are one of you. They try to make you think they're all middle class. Meanwhile, the guy flew in on a private jet from his $15 million estate out in Martha's Vineyard. Barack Obama is not like you. He's not like me. He's not like the average everyday Democrat. All those people sitting in the stands cheering him on. Listen, he's got that old age. He's got the gray hair. First of all, he looks horrible. He sounds awful, and he's trying to be folksy, and he's trying to be like that old Grandpa Obama. Grandpa Barack's here, and he's going to tell you like it is. He's going to tell you about the old days. Back during my economy, diapers was still expensive, but everything else was cheaper. We had job growth. We had 75 months of job. Donald Trump didn't do nothing. That was all me. Okay, Grandpa. Okay. It's like when you get to a certain age, I don't know what the age that is, but Barack Obama's getting close. You get to a certain age in life where everything new is bad and everything old is good, and you take credit for my parents were, my father was at that age before he left the earth, by the way. My mother's, kind of getting there. She thinks everything was better back in the 40s and the 50s, and everything now's horrible. All that kind of, it happens with everybody. Hillary Clinton the other day, she's totally gone. She was talking about how we need more censorship so that the government could control everything. And she's saying it very casually, like, oh, what's for dinner? Oh, what's for dinner? Oh, we need more censorship. Okay. And that's where and Barack Obama's getting there. He's an angry old man with nothing better to do but blame everything on modern times and remember the day when he made everything better. That economy was great because of me. Diapers were so expensive, but then I came along and, I mean, diapers, let's be honest, diapers have always been. They've always been expensive because they know people are going to pay for them because no one wants to wash cloth diapers. It's just one of those disgusting facts of life. But Barack Obama's speech wasn't even the worst part. Barack Obama's speech wasn't even, I mean, it was bad, but it wasn't even the worst part. It was kind of pathetic. It was kind of sad. But what we really found out, we really found out the truth about Kamala Harris's campaign and how bad it is in the, I guess it would be the after party. I don't know what it was. I don't know if it may have been before the speech. I don't really even know. But Barack Obama was caught on camera talking to a group of young black men. And when I say talking to, I mean lecturing them and blaming them and saying they're the reason why Kamala Harris is behind in the polls and they got to get off their butts and do something.
Communities is that we have not yet seen the same kinds of energy and turnout in all quarters of our neighborhoods and communities as we saw when I was running. Now, I also want to say that that seems to be more pronounced with the brothers.
But Barack Obama saunters into the back room, gathers a group of young black men and says, listen, there is not the same kind of enthusiasm and excitement and turnout for this campaign as there was when I was running. And that seems to be most prominent with the brothers, meaning young black men. And so Barack Obama, being an old black man, is going to come in and tell these young black men they better vote for Kamala Harris or else. He's going to sit there and lecture them as to why Kamala Harris is better for young black men than Donald Trump, when Barack Obama has done absolutely nothing for young black men except lecture them. And Donald Trump did everything for the black community. He did everything for the black community, the Latin American community, the Caucasian community, the Asian community, the Jewish community. Everybody was better under Donald Trump. Everybody got a tax break under Donald Trump. Black, white, Hispanic, Asian, doesn't matter. If you paid taxes, you got more money back. If when corporations were forced to bring their jobs back and they got massive tax benefits from as a result, a lot of those corporations paid their employees back. And a lot of those employees were young black men. The cost of gasoline was down. The cost of food was down. It was easier for a young black man or any man to buy a home during Donald Trump's presidency. Now it's damn near impossible. And what do we have? We got a middle-aged black woman as vice president. But Barack Obama is angry that the enthusiasm for this middle-aged black woman isn't there among the young black men in the community. And he's going to tell them what for.
When you have a choice that is this clear, when on the one hand you have somebody who grew up like you, knows you, went to college with you, understands the struggles and pain and joy that comes from those experiences. He's had to work harder and do more and overcome and achieves the second highest office in the land.
No, I can't even anymore. I couldn't even imagine being one of these young black men sitting in this room watching Barack Obama say stuff like, "Witcha," which he did. He's like, when the choice is so clear. Oh, is it? Is it so clear? When the choice is so clear, here's a woman who came from where you came from, who knows what you know, who went to school. Witcha? Is Witcha a word? Isn't Witcha a city in Kansas? Oh, wait, that's Wichita. She went to school, Witcha. Kamala Harris is pushing 60. These kids are like 20-something. They didn't go to, none of these kids went to school, which Kamala. I mean, it's so pathetic and it's so insulting. And I would get up and I'd be like, dude, what are you even talking about? Kamala Harris is not like me. In fact, I'll be honest with you. I don't know why you have to vote for somebody who's like you. There's nobody like me currently running. There's nobody that grew up like me currently running. I was born in Canada. I moved to the United States when I was 8 years old. My parents got divorced when I was 10. My father moved away to do work. And when I was 16, I basically lived by myself. I'm Catholic. You know, all of these. It's crazy. If I was like, you know what? Kamala Harris is not like me. Donald Trump's not like me either. I grew up in the South. He grew up in the North. I grew up, he grew up filthy rich. We're not the same person. Am I just supposed to sit out the election? Who you can relate with personally or whose life most mirrors yours doesn't make a rat's patootie worth of difference as to who you should vote for. If she went to school with you, doesn't mean she'd be a great president. You know how many people I went to school with, either high school or college, that I would turn around and say that person would be a great president? Zero. There's not one person in my high school who I would vote for president. There's not one person that I knew from college that I would vote for president because I went to NYU and they're probably a liberal. It's this identity politics that Barack Obama is trying to like it just ingrain, and it's so sad and it's so pathetic and it's so desperate and it's so hopeless because these young black men know the difference. They know what's going on. They know the cost of gas. They know the cost of food. They know the cost of diapers. They know how difficult it is to find a job, how to get a raise, to buy a home, to refinance a home. They know how horrible it is out there and how it's not getting better. And they see the crime in their areas. They see that Kamala Harris doesn't care that illegal immigrants are bringing in crime and drugs to their neighborhood and homelessness. They don't care. Kamala doesn't care. Joe Biden doesn't care. Barack Hussein Obama doesn't care. He's flying back to Martha's Vineyard in like 20 minutes. Listen, kids, I'm going to sit here and lecture you about how because you're black, you got to support the black candidate no matter what. And then I'm going to get back in my private plane and fly out to Martha's Vineyard and hang out with my wife in my $15 million complex that Netflix paid for because I created some crappy movies for them. That's what we're doing. And it is sad and it's pathetic and it's really insulting. And if I were one of those black men, I'd be insulted. In fact, people were insulted. Listen to CNN report on how bad this Barack Obama speech and subsequent backroom lecture actually is for the Kamala Harris campaign.
They need to appeal to the needs of the voters. And so when I was a delegate for President Obama in both of his elections in Ohio, right now the vice president is down 11 points in Ohio, even though I fully expect President Trump to take Ohio as he did twice, but to be down 11 points compared to President Biden, that is a problem. But this other issue I want to bring up is a problem too. Why are black men being lectured to? Why are black men being belittled in ways that no other voting group? Now, a lot of love for former President Obama, but for him to single out black men is wrong. And some of the black men that I have talked to have their reasons why they want to vote a different way. And even if some of us may not like that, we have to respect it. So unless President Barack Obama is going to go out and lecture every other group of men from other identity groups, my message for Democrats is don't bring it here to black men who, by and large, don't vote much differently from black women.
Why are you lecturing black men, thinking that's going to bring them back to the party? The reason they left the party is because of you, because you lectured them, because you told them that they had to vote for you because you looked like them, because they told you that they had to vote for you because they came from where you are, because they gave you cell phones, whatever ridiculous reason is. They told you that if you vote for, we all remember Joe Biden, if you vote for Donald Trump, you ain't black.
If you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, and you ain't black.
And they're still, that's the same message. Barack Obama is delivering the same message. He's saying the choice is clear. She comes from your neighborhood. She went to school with you. Why you got to vote for her? If you don't vote for her, you didn't come from her neighborhood. You didn't go to school with her. You ain't black.
If you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, and you ain't black.
That's the exact same message in a different package. And it's not going to work. And in fact, as we can see on CNN, black voters don't like to be blamed. You know who you want to blame? Blame the party. Blame the Democrats. Blame Barack Obama. Blame Hillary Clinton. Blame Joe Biden. Blame Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris did nothing for 4 years. And she sat back and she watched as Joe Biden ruined this country, as the borders were flown wide open, and as immigrants were flown over the border into our country, as the economy suffered greatly, as inflation skyrocketed, as jobs disappeared, all of this stuff that happened under her watch. She did none. She sat back and did nothing. And now voters are saying, look, Donald Trump at least did something. Donald Trump has a plan. Donald Trump has experience. Donald Trump is going to take off the tax on tips. Donald Trump is going to, now he says he wants to take off taxes on car loans. Donald Trump wants to take off taxes on Social Security. Donald Trump knows that the way to strengthen the economy is to put more money in your pocket and in my pocket. Why? Because we're going to spend that money. He knows we're not going to save it. This is economics 101. If you want a strong economy, you got to give people money to spend because they're going to spend it. Nobody saves money. They go out and they buy cell phones, and they go out and they buy expensive coffees, and they put a down payment on a new car. And that's all great because that creates more jobs. It creates more wealth. And when you have more jobs, you have more people paying taxes to the federal government. When you have more taxes being paid to the federal government, guess what? The government gets more money without raising taxes, so they can then lower everyone's taxes. It's a no-brainer. It's the basic system of government. It's how economics works. You have to get money back into people's pockets. That's why Donald Trump is slashing taxes on everything. Kamala Harris and Barack Obama and Joe Biden, they just jacked up your taxes because they didn't believe that you knew how to spend your money appropriately, and then they spent it on stuff that you didn't want it spent on, like housing illegal immigrants in luxury New York hotels and sending money to Ukraine so they could buy Ferraris and rent villas in the south of Spain. And now they're shocked. They're shocked and appalled that black men aren't voting for them. What is wrong with you? It's crazy. I am shocked. I am shocked that after we've made it so much harder for black men to survive in this country, that they don't want to vote us into office for 4 more years. What's wrong with you? that's just my Barack Obama. I love when Barack Obama tries to get street. Hey, listen, before we get on to the next thing, which is Tim Walz, which is equally entertaining and also quite scary, I'd like to take a moment to ask you to do me a favor, and that is subscribe to this channel. We are here all the time, like literally all the time. I don't move from this chair. Every single day, Monday through Friday at noon, we bring you a live show. Throughout the day, we post videos on YouTube, on Rumble. I'm on X like all the time. If you are enjoying what you see, or if you're learning something, if you're like, wow, this is informative. Wow, this old white dude who's bald and yelling into his microphone has some actual interesting things to say, and I kind of agree with him. Or if you think, this is kind of kooky, but I'm enjoying it, great. I don't care why you listen, just please do. And make sure you subscribe. Make sure you set your notifications so that you know when we go live. Make sure that you tell your friends about it. In fact, on Facebook, we have had a devil of a time with Facebook suppressing our content and not letting people know, not even letting, you can set the notifications on Facebook. People still don't even know. So the best thing to do right now is share this, and that'll continue to grow it. That'll let people know, hey, we're live. Hey, we're live. Because again, not a lot of people know. Not a lot of people. Mark Zuckerberg doesn't like us talking about him on his own platform, which makes sense. And, we don't usually. But at the same time, we do want to make sure that everybody who wants this content, who enjoys this content, who wants to keep getting this content can get it on whatever platform you want to get it on. If you're listening to our podcast, man, I should show you the charts. We're like at 113 for political podcasts, which is amazing. And we keep climbing every single day. We're just getting up and up, and we're getting really close to Candace Owens. Okay, we're not getting that close. We're getting a little closer. We're getting closer by the day. One day it'll be, instead of Candace Owens and Mark Kaye Saves the Republic, it'll be Mark Kaye Saves the Republic and Candace Owens. But, we appreciate you subscribing to the podcast and listening to it, and again, sharing it with like-minded individuals. So please take a minute to do so. All right, I guess we should get to Tim Walz, and I got to try to find this. There's a real man problem. It's not just black men, it's all men. There's a real man problem in the Democrat Party. The Democrat Party, they feel that men don't want to vote for Kamala Harris because she's a woman. And that's not true. We don't want to vote for Kamala Harris because she's an idiot. But they think it's tough to play that card. It's tough to argue that point. You know, you got Democratic strategists and they're looking through all the research. They're like, all right, the research says here that men don't want to vote for our candidate because she's an effing idiot. Well, we can't really run a campaign on that. So let's just call them misogynist and we'll say real men support women. And real men have no problem with strong women. And that if you want to vote for Kamala Harris, or if you want to be a real man, you have to vote for Kamala Harris. That's what we're going to go with, because we don't want to vote for her because she's an idiot. It's tough to argue. And there was a University of Kansas professor. I don't know if you saw this guy. He recorded his class. And this is one of my favorite clips. I didn't actually play it, but it's made the rounds. It happened on like Monday or Tuesday. University of Kansas professor says something about men. And I'm just going to play you the clip. This is what he says. This is the message from a University of Kansas professor who is telling men you need to vote for a woman.
Guys are smarter than girls. You got some serious problems. That's what frustrates me. There are going to be some males in our society that will refuse to vote for a potential female president because they don't think females are smart enough to be president. We could line all those guys up and shoot them. They clearly don't understand the way the world works.
Okay, so what the guy said was, there's a lot of guys out there who won't vote for a woman just because she's a woman. And those guys, we could just line them up and shoot them. Just line them up, just bang, bang, bang. That's what he said. He said there's a lot of guys out there who just, the only reason they won't vote for Kamala Harris is because she's a woman. And we could just shoot all those guys. And then he realized what he said and that he was being recorded.
Did I say that? Scratch that from the recording. I don't want the deans hearing that I said that.
Well, guess what? Somebody didn't scratch it from the recording, and the deans did hear it, and they posted a statement from the university regarding a classroom video. The university is aware of a classroom video in which an instructor made an inappropriate reference to violence. Political violence, I would say, but okay. The instructor is being placed on administrative leave, pending further investigation. The instructor offers his sincerest apologies and deeply regrets the situation. His intent was to emphasize his advocacy for women's rights and equality, and he recognizes he did a very poor job of doing so. The university has an established process for situations like this and will follow that process. University of Kansas, Rock Chalk Jayhawk. I added that last part. They should have written that, though. I'm shocked they didn't. You know, that would have been great. I would have known it was from the administration if they wrote, the university has an established process for situations like this and we'll follow that process. Rock Chalk Jayhawk. That would have been how I would have ended it. But again, nobody asked me really anything. So this professor goes out there and he says, if you don't vote for a woman just because she's a woman, take all those dudes, line them up and shoot them. And then he apologizes. Here's the problem. What you say first is usually what you believe. What you say first, what you say in the passion, that's usually what you believe. This guy believes that men who don't vote for women because they're women don't deserve not just to vote, but to live. That's his actual deep ingrained opinion. And he's trying to backtrack it. He's trying to say, oh, wait a minute. I didn't actually mean to verbalize that. I didn't mean to say that out loud. So please strike that from the recording. We'll pretend it never happened. Luckily, we now know what's going on. Now, this issue, by the way, is a big problem for the Kamala Harris campaign because, sure, let's be honest. There are a lot of men out there who probably won't vote for Kamala Harris because she's a woman, when really that's like the 9th worst thing about her. I'm totally kidding. No, being a woman's a great thing. But in this particular instance, there is there is a bevy of other reasons not to vote for her. Her economic policy, her defund the police movement, you know, her participation in defund the police, her bailing out of criminals so they could continue to go out and just terrorize individuals in Kenosha, Wisconsin, and Minneapolis, Minnesota, and other places like that. I mean, there's so many. You just take your pick. I mean, I don't even have time to list all of the reasons why Kamala Harris would be a horrible president. But there are guys that do that. So now, get this. There's a political article. I'm trying to find it. They have a brand new campaign. For the next 20 some odd days, they're going to try to get back all of these male voters. And the way they're going to try to get back all of these male voters is by sending out, you're going to love this one. You're going to love this one, is by sending out Tim Walz.
I'm a knucklehead at times.
They believe that if they want to get men to vote for a woman, they've got to send out the one, the only, the highly masculine Tim Walz to try to woo back all of these male voters. And Eric Trump was on Fox News yesterday talking about this.
Ainsley, she did a podcast called Call Her Daddy as a major hurricane was destroying our country. I mean, listen, I'm all for humor. You know me very well as a person, right? I'm a funny guy, but like, wrong time, wrong place. No different than Biden sleeping on a beach on a Monday morning, right? I mean, sunbathing on a beach on a Monday morning, you know, wrong time. And of course, you know, Walz has to restore his reputation, you know, to the male voter. I mean, this is a guy who literally was putting tampons in males' bathrooms in Minnesota. I mean, you know, I don't think there's many, you know, masculine men that exactly find that to be a positive attribute. I mean, this is a guy who took his honeymoon to China. It's shocking that no one talks about that. I mean, I'm still trying to figure out with Tim Walz how a guy, you know, who was on a teacher salary was able to go over to China 35 times. Listen, I've been in international business my entire life. I know a lot of those guys. No, who's been over to China 35 times? Who pays for those trips? Who takes their money? Who takes their honeymoon to communist China? And so, you know, I don't think you can restore your reputation by, you know, kind of haphazardly going in a field and pretending you're a great hunter. I mean, first of all, you're going to look insincere. Second of all, you're going to kind of look foolish because if you don't do it all the time, you can, you know, see it from a mile away. But man, I mean, I think it's going to take a lot of work, and I certainly don't think he can get there.
Here's the article, by the way. Walz to launch media blitz to woo male voters. Woo! if you're trying to woo some males, Tim Walz is probably your guy.
Let's go.
I imagine this is, you want to woo some voter, you want to woo some males. Hey, listen, we got an emergency meeting of the Kamala Walz of the Harris Walz campaign. We're bleeding men. We need to woo males. Are there any volunteers? Anyone want to step up and help us woo males?
Let's go.
I mean, what even is? I don't even know what is this? What is this motion supposed to be with the finger pointing and the swaying of, come on, we're going to woo some males. More male woo. Tim, what are you doing? Wooing males? Woohoo! That's what it's come down to. Think about this. The most masculine man in the Kamala Harris campaign, the most masculine man in the Democrat Party right now is Tim Walz. That's going to be an uphill climb. That's going to be an uphill climb for sure. Not only is Tim Walz not the most masculine man, in my humble opinion, and look, I'm not saying I'm Hulk Hogan. You know, I'm not saying I'm I don't know who's a really masculine guy. I'm trying to think. All I can think of is, can't really think of any. Myself is the only thing. Okay, I guess. Oh, Chuck Norris. I'm not saying I'm Chuck Norris. You know, but I could be. But I'm no Tim Walz. Anyway, Tim Walz is going to go out and woo people. But the problem with Tim Walz is not just that he's less like low T, you know, let's just say he doesn't come across as the alpha male type that they're trying to get votes back from. I don't think he's going to go out. I mean, Donald Trump is so masculine. He's so much stronger. He doesn't do this. You never see Donald Trump do this number. Donald Trump doesn't clap like this. Donald Trump, I don't think I've ever seen Donald. I think when Donald Trump claps, he goes like this. And then he points. That's all he does. You get two claps and a point. very masculine. And I think that's what men like about him too. But Tim Walz is not the guy. Also, Tim Walz is an idiot.
And I'm a knucklehead at times.
I'm sorry, he's a knucklehead at times.
And I'm a knucklehead at times.
Is Tim Walz a moron?
And I'm a knucklehead at times.
I mean, again, all the terms are interchangeable. But he's done some really, really questionable things. He most recently had to clean up a mess he made with the Electoral College. Tim Walz went out, and for years he's hated the Electoral College. All Democrats hate the Electoral College. The only problem is most Democrats are smart enough not to say anything about it when they're out campaigning. Not Tim Walz. Tim Walz goes out and he says the Electoral College has got to go. Now, there's only one reason why you would get up and say something like the Electoral College has got to go. And the reason why you would go out there and say the Electoral College has got to go is because you know that you're going to lose the Electoral College. You're not going to win. You have no pathway to victory. And the only hope you have of victory is if we somehow change to a national popular vote. But saying the Electoral College has got to go has some problems. And Tim Walz apparently got a tongue lashing from somebody in the Kamala Harris campaign because when he sat down with Michael Strahan yesterday, he backtracked, man, holy cow. He flip-flopped faster than Jimmy Buffett after a couple of margaritas. Listen to this.
I want to go back to something you said on Tuesday. You said, I think all of us know the Electoral College needs to go. But the campaign came out later that night, and they said that's not their stance.
Yeah. Well, it's not the campaign's position. And the point I'm trying to make is that there's folks that feel every vote must count in every state. Mm-hmm. And I think some of folks feel that's not the case. Our campaign does that. And the point I'm saying is I'm in 5 states in 2 days. We're out there making the case that the campaign's position is clear, that that's not their position. Their position and my position is to make sure that everybody understands their vote, no matter what state they're in, matters.
So that's something that you and Vice President Harris disagree on?
I have spoken about it in the past, that she's been very clear on this, and the campaign, and my position is the campaign's position.
Wait a minute. 2 days ago, your position was the Electoral College has got to go. Now, all of a sudden, the campaign's position is the Electoral College is fine, and also my position is the Electoral College is fine. And kudos to Michael Strahan, because he pressed him on it a little bit. He was a little bit like, wait a minute, so you differ on this with Kamala Harris. No. We're all together on this. And there's a couple problems when a candidate for president gets up and says the Electoral College has got to go. First thing, of course, the most obvious is that it means you're screwed in the Electoral College. This is where we are right now. This is where it stands. Oh, hold on, let me reset the map. This is where it stands, okay? Electorally, you need 270 electoral votes to become president of the United States. And we know that North Carolina is going to go to Donald Trump because Kamala Harris doesn't like North Carolinians. Doesn't want to give them FEMA aid, doesn't want to go visit them, not really, because she'll give them $750, but there's no rush for Kamala Harris to get those red state Republicans in the mountains of Appalachia, in the Appalachian Mountains, in the Blue Ridge Mountains of North Carolina, get them up and running before Election Day. It's actually better for Kamala Harris if they remain without any kind of power or internet or access to a polling location, because let's face it, Western North Carolina, very rural, very red, with the exception of Asheville, and I'm sure those people will get their mail-in ballots. Either way, I feel like Donald Trump has a pretty strong hold on North Carolina at the moment. Same is true of Georgia, and all the polls I've seen in Georgia. It doesn't look like Donald Trump's going to have any problem winning back a state that, surprisingly, he lost in 2020. Same is true of Arizona, which leads us to Pennsylvania, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Nevada. Again, you could give them all to Donald Trump or one of them to Donald Trump. It doesn't matter because he only needs 8 electoral votes. So if Kamala wins Nevada, which I think maybe she's ahead by a percentage point or two, Donald Trump, he could take your pick. Pennsylvania, where he's dominant, fine. Give him Pennsylvania. He has 281. You want to give Pennsylvania to Kamala? Okay, she's still not there. Donald Trump will take Michigan, where he's ahead by 2 percentage points. Now Donald Trump's president with 220, with 277. You want to give Kamala Michigan? Fine. That still only gets her to 266. She needs Wisconsin, but Donald Trump's going to win 1 or 2, maybe even all 3 of those Rust Belt states. Why? Because Kamala Harris is horrible. And nobody is falling for Barack Obama's and Oprah Winfrey's and the national media's narrative that she's a strong leader who will bring joy back to this country and who miraculously will undo all of the bad policies she's been a part of for 3.5 years. Nobody believes that. Not in Michigan, Pennsylvania, or Wisconsin. There is no electoral path to victory right now for Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. And Tim Walz saying the Electoral College has got to go is basically an admission of that. And you can't really admit you've already lost your campaign in the middle of a campaign. It's a bad look. It's just not. It's not a good look. However, the bigger issue with saying the Electoral College has got to go is that the Electoral College was laid out by our founding fathers in the United States Constitution. It's right there in the Constitution. Each state, slate of electors, blah, blah, blah. Electors shall meet, yada, yada, yada. If you say the Electoral College has got to go, you're saying the United States Constitution has got to go. And I know what you're thinking. Well, the Democrats believe that anyway. Yes, they do, but they're not supposed to say it out loud. They're not supposed to say it in front of a crowd. They're not supposed to say it when you're being recorded. They're not supposed to say it at a fundraiser where people can clip it and send it out to the news media. They're not supposed to say it. You're supposed to think it. You're supposed to pass legislation that shows people, yeah, we don't like the Constitution that much, and we're going to do whatever we can to stop it. You're not supposed to blatantly say the Constitution of the United States of America has got to go. It's got to go. It's wrong. It's so bad. Because if the Electoral College goes, or if you say the Electoral College goes, you're saying the Constitution is wrong. And then you can take away the Second Amendment, even though you're a hunter and a gun owner, and then you can take away the First Amendment, which they've already tried to do in many places. They had Hillary Clinton the other day screaming and yelling about more censorship for X because she didn't like that she was losing power. She doesn't like that the people have power. She wants the government and the Democrat Party to have it all. Therefore, we need stronger censorship on X and other social media platforms. So Tim Walz, in addition to being effeminate, is a big knucklehead.
I'm a knucklehead at times.
Yet they think he's the guy that's going to go out and save the party and bring back the men. Men aren't stupid. Men would vote for women. Men don't have a woman problem. They have a communist problem. I'm sure if there were a woman, like, for example, trying to think of one, Ivanka Trump would be a good one. Kristi Noem, before she had that whole puppy shooting scandal. Sarah Huckabee Sanders. She's great. If Sarah Huckabee Sanders were running for president, okay, against a guy, pick a guy, pick the most masculine Democrat. Gavin Newsom? Is he the most? John Fetterman? Do they even have any masculinity in the Democrat Party? I'm asking for a friend. Are there any masculine Democrats? If so, I can't think of a one. But pick the most masculine Democrat. The Rock. He's masculine, right? He's a Democrat. Fine. Take The Rock, Matthew McConaughey, whoever it is. Put him up there in a Jackass t-shirt, in a blue hat, and some pathetic slogan like hope or change or love or joy or lust or whatever it is. Just put him up there and then have Sarah Huckabee Sanders on the other side. I and a lot of other manly men like me, a lot of other specimens of pure raw masculinity just like me will be voting for Sarah Huckabee Sanders. No problemo. Not even a question in my mind. If you could put the biggest alpha man, Andrew Tate, I don't know who it is, whoever the most masculine guy in the world is, if he's running for the Democrat Party to be the next president of the United States, and Sarah Huckabee Sanders in a pink dress and pigtails is running as a Republican, I'm voting for the pink dress and pigtails. Not because I hate women or I love women or because she's a woman, because I know her politics. I know her conservatism. I know what she's done for the people of Arkansas. I know what she did as press secretary. I know what her father did. I trust her to be fully capable of protecting the Constitution from all enemies, foreign and domestic, executing an economic plan that won't bankrupt me, my family, or the country, and protecting us from harm, from the harmful terrorists and the harmful drug pushers and the cartels and everything else in this country. So the Democrats, once again, are misguided. It's not a man versus woman issue. It's not that men won't vote for a woman. It's that they won't vote for that woman, Kamala Harris. Why? Because she's a lunatic.
You think you just fell out of a coconut tree?
Well, it's just plain weird.
Everybody needs to be woke.
You better thank a union member for sick leave. You better thank a union member for paid leave. You better thank a union member for vacation time.
Hard work is good work. Hard work is good work.
You better thank a union member.
If you want Donald Trump to win, then say that. Otherwise, I'm speaking. What else do we know about this population, 18 through 24? They are stupid.
Who wouldn't want to vote for that? I mean, come on, I ask you. Yeah, they got a big problem. That's all I'm going to say. Listen, we are very excited here at the Mark Kaye Show because we have brought on yet another fantastic new supporter of Mark Kaye Saves the Republic. And I'm really thrilled about it. Mark Kaye Saves the Republic, as I mentioned earlier, is just growing by leaps and bounds. And I'm really excited about our newest sponsor because our newest sponsor is olive oil. Look, there is inside your pantry right now, and inside my pantry, there's bottles of it. One of the healthiest foods on the planet. It's true. It's not a weird superfood either. It's olive oil. And there's a guy named Dr. Gundry. Is it Gundry? It's Gundry, right? I'm gonna pull this up real quick. I'm going to show you. There's another video that is available to you as a viewer of Mark Kaye Saves the Republic, as somebody who watches this show regularly. Here he is. Dr. Gundry. Stephen Gundry, MD, is one of the world's celebrated pediatric heart surgeons and the author of the best-selling book, Dr. Gundry's Diet Evolution. He's the director of the International Heart and Lung Institute in Palm Springs, California, and the founder of the center. This is all great stuff. And this guy, I'm telling you, has basically come up with a brand new form of olive oil, which is a natural way to achieve a more youthful appearance. Look at me, I look very youthful. I use a lot of olive oil, but there are better olive oils than others. Some olive oils can give you some benefits, but if you're looking to get the best results, you got to pick the best one. And Dr. Gundry has come to this realization and created a brand new health-boosting olive oil that you can get by going to getolive1.com/MK. In fact, this video right here that I was just showing you, if you go to getolive1.com/MK, you can watch the entire video and learn how 1 teaspoon of olive oil at night can truly just change your life. That is if you use the right kind of olive oil. Let me get back to the screen here. So what you need to do is go to getolive1.com/MK, getolive1.com/MK. And to make it super easy, what I did was I put that link in the description of this video so you can just click on it at your leisure and learn all about the benefits of Dr. Gundry's olive oil. And I appreciate, again, every time we have people coming up, stepping up and saying, Mark Kaye, this is a great program and we want to support it in any way that we possibly can. So take a minute and watch Dr. Gundry's video, getoliveoil1.com/Mark Kaye. Speaking of eating things, I don't know if you saw this video of Gretchen Whitmer, who was feeding a Dorito to Liz Plank. Liz Plank is a podcaster, liberal podcaster, and she had Gretchen Whitmer on, and they were doing this TikTok trend called feeding each other or feeding people. I'm not really sure where these TikTok trends come from. Yes, I know they come from TikTok, but I'm not sure who decides what becomes a trend and what doesn't. And there's a new trend where basically people feed each other food and post it on TikTok. And it's gone, like I said, some of these videos have like millions and millions of views. So Gretchen Whitmer and Liz Plank decided they were going to do this viral video. Only the way they did it is a little weird. Here's Gretchen Whitmer, there's Liz Plank, and she's feeding her. For whatever reason, Liz Plank is on her hands and knees. And I'm going to go back and watch this again. So Gretchen Whitmer is wearing, first of all, she's wearing the Harris Walz hat. She's the governor of Michigan. She's wearing the Harris Walz camo hat with the safety orange logo. And she feeds Liz Plank, who's on her knees, a Dorito chip. And Liz Plank goes, oh, it's so delicious. And then Gretchen Whitmer looks really awkwardly at the camera. Now, a lot of people are decrying this and saying this is a blasphemous video because it's making fun of the Catholic communion. Why can't I think right now? It's making fun of the communion in the Catholic Church. And, there's a lot of sacraments in the Catholic Church, marriage and baptism and confirmation and communion, the Holy Eucharist, which Catholics partake of, some daily, but at least weekly if you're a Catholic in good standing. And the way that she's genuflecting in front of Gretchen Whitmer. And the way that Gretchen Whitmer places the Dorito on her tongue, the way the priest would place a Dorito on the tongue of the faithful in the Catholic Church, it's very similar to the communion. It looks kind of like somebody's giving somebody communion, but with a Dorito chip and a Harris Walz hat on. And so now people on X and on the internet are just going crazy, going, what fresh hell is this? Who are these demons in the Democrat Party who just wanted to take everything holy and just denounce it and make fun of it and bastardize it? And here they are doing it again. Now, of course, TikTokers are all like, dude, chillax, it's a TikTok trend. Well, it's a TikTok trend, yes, but it's also very reminiscent of a very, very holy Catholic tradition that seems to be desecrated by a Democrat from Michigan. And again, a Democrat from Michigan, a Democrat governor from Michigan making a stir with Catholics or any Christians this close to an election is a problem because, once again, there's Michigan and it needs to go to Kamala Harris if she's going to win the election. But if your governor's making weird TikTok videos with Liz Plank where they're portraying the Holy Communion in the Catholic Church only using Doritos instead of the body of Christ, well, that could be a problem for those Michigan voters, and that could be enough to push them toward Donald Trump. So they don't need the people in Kansas don't need that professor saying, let's shoot all the guys who don't want to vote for Kamala Harris because she's a woman either. Every vote is important to every side of the aisle. Every vote is important to each candidate. And everything you do or everything one of your surrogates does or someone in your party does is going to count either for or against you in this particular instance. And Gretchen Whitmer isn't doing Kamala Harris any favors. J.D. Vance, on the other hand, continues to be killing it for the Republican Party. J.D. Vance, it's almost unfair. I mean, it's not unfair. We're just better people. But it's unfair how Donald Trump, there's basically two of him. You've got Donald Trump, who's going out and doing town halls and doing speeches and doing rallies, and he's doing podcast interviews. He's doing live streams. He's doing all these things. Donald Trump is a machine. He's going and going and going and going and going. And then what he did was he went out and he found a younger version of himself to do the same exact stuff at the same exact time, thus doubling his output. So now there's two Donald Trumps, the big one, DJT, and then JDV. And DJT and JDV are just covering every single base. And JDV was in Greensboro, North Carolina yesterday. And he was with Danica Patrick, who, by the way, I just found out never voted, but will be voting this first time around.
Kaylee, I'm also a first-time voter, I just want to say. I've never voted before,
that's
but
awesome.
this time around,
Good for you.
I have to vote. Yeah, it's that important.
I just want to be clear. I want to get on record. You're voting for us, right? You're voting for the good guys?
1,000%.
There we go.
By the way, I don't know if Danica Patrick lives in North Carolina or if I know she's from Wisconsin. I don't know if I don't really know. All I know is that she was a race car driver. She didn't win that much. And then she dated Aaron Rodgers. I don't know what she's up to now. But whether it's Wisconsin or North Carolina, she's voting for J.D. Vance and Donald Trump. And well, that's good news because both of those states are going to have really close-knit elections, and we need to make sure we have every vote we have. But right during this event, something really bizarre happened. A woman screamed. A woman from the audience right behind J.D. Vance screamed, and listen to what happened.
Or the federal government, there's a lot of...
Hold on just a second, man.
The bleachers in the back collapsed, and this woman screamed as she fell, and then they straightened it up. They fixed it all.
Kamala Harris built this platform behind us. That's what happened.
Boom, boom. Very good. J.D. Vance making a funny at what could have been a more catastrophe. But yeah, Kamala Harris, that's Build Back Better for you, folks. That platform right there. Could you imagine just sitting on stage? But did you see how calm he was? He just jumped up. He didn't run away from it. He ran to. That's the thing. Republicans run to the screams. Democrats are usually the ones screaming. Now, flip this around with Kamala Harris, who, look, J.D. Vance goes out there unscripted, off the cuff, no teleprompter. He's out there saying what needs to be said. Donald Trump's the same way. He's sitting down for podcast interviews. He's answering questions honestly. He knows the information. He's got the facts and the figures and the statistics ready to just pull out of his you-know-what at a moment's notice. Donald Trump knows what he's talking about because he's done the job. J.D. Vance knows what he's talking about because he's intelligent. Remember, he went to Yale. Kamala Harris, she doesn't have the same skill set, if you will. She doesn't have the same intelligence. She doesn't have the same wherewithal or knowledge of world events. She doesn't know what she's talking about half the time. She doesn't really have an agenda, and she's incapable of doing anything impromptu or off the cuff. And that includes a town hall meeting, because while J.D. Vance was hosting a town hall meeting in North Carolina, Kamala Harris was hosting a town hall meeting of her own with, was it Telemundo? Telemundo, I think it was. Or there's another Spanish, I don't know, one of those Latin American TV stations. And look at what happened when the cameraman accidentally caught the teleprompter that Kamala Harris was using during the town hall.
Victim of crime. Are you a Republican? Are you a Democrat? The only question I ever ask is, are you okay?
There's the teleprompter.
And sadly,
the camera's got the teleprompter in the shot.
Since
somebody realizes it and they turn it off. And they go, oh, well, crap, the teleprompter's on. We need to turn up. First of all, the fact that Kamala Harris, I'm going to play this one again because this is just too good. The fact that Kamala Harris has to use a teleprompter during a live town hall where she's supposed to be asking questions that nobody really knows, you know, and you don't know the answer. What you're doing here in this scenario, if you're Kamala Harris, is you're supposed to be interacting with the people. And the people are going to ask you questions and you're going to answer them and you're going to speak your mind off the cuff. But Kamala Harris can't speak off the cuff and she doesn't really have a mind. So even at a town hall, she needs to have prepared answers in the teleprompter that she can read from. And when she gets busted, it's no TCS Univision. Yeah, they turn it off. Univision cuts the camera so that now she's forced to go off script. And I know what you're thinking. Here's the other thing I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, but Mark Kaye, how can they have pre-scripted answers when it's a town hall? Do they know what questions are going to be asked ahead of time? Yes, they do. Look at this clip. This is a clip. It's a side-by-side of Kamala Harris and a woman in the audience. And the woman in the audience is saying the exact same words that Kamala Harris is saying at the exact same time that Kamala Harris is saying
Unlike my opponent, who got handed $400 million on a silver tray and filed for bankruptcy 6 times, most people don't have that access to the wealth that is necessary for them to start a small business. But when they do.
Yeah. So here's the deal. If you look in the background, there's a black woman in the background and she's on camera and Kamala Harris is speaking. And this woman mouths verbatim the exact words that Kamala Harris is saying.
That unlike my opponent, who got handed $400 million on a silver tray and filed for bankruptcy 6 times.
Look, she knows it word for word. Now, that means one of two things. Either A, Kamala Harris has just used this tired old line so much that her constituents and these people going to these rallies can just repeat it over. They just know it over and over and over again, verbatim like she does. Or that this woman works for the campaign, potentially is a writer for the campaign, maybe even wrote this answer and is very proud that her candidate is reading it back. But either way, it's a bad look for Kamala Harris that somebody in the audience knows what you're going to say before you say it. That proves you don't have the ability. You don't have the ability, the wherewithal, the knowledge, the skill to speak extemporaneously. That's why 60 Minutes had to do a hack job on her interview so that they could figure out a way to make her sound more intelligent than she actually is. And that they even had a hard time doing that. They edited her interview. They still couldn't make her sound like she knew what she was talking about. And that's because she doesn't. And that's why it's so insulting that Barack Obama is out there lecturing black men to go and vote for her, even though they see what's going on. They know that a vote for Kamala Harris is a vote for higher taxes, higher prices, more immigration, illegal immigration. They know that it's more crime in the streets. They know that it's more gang violence. They know that it's lower paying jobs, fewer jobs. They know that it's inflation. They know that it's war probably, and let's be honest, if you're a young black man, you're going to be drafted or you're going to be wooed into the army to go fight these enemies of America, quote unquote, who are way far away, so that Kamala Harris and her friends in Congress and the Senate can make lots more money. That's what's going to happen. These black men, these young black men that Barack Obama is lecturing, they know it. And yet what? They're supposed to just agree to all of that so that Kamala Harris can be the president? Absolutely not. They know what's up. They want Donald Trump. And they don't want some old washed up, retired, filthy rich former president coming in there and telling them what to do. Barack Obama, you had your chance. You're done. Please go back to your mansion in Martha's Vineyard, hang out with your wife, and leave me alone. That's basically what they're saying. Look, before we get out of here, I do want to remind you, I updated my website a little bit. I changed a little bit of the color scheme, but we still have the cancel-proof pre-sale is going on, the pre-launch sale. Oh, look, Judith from Copley, Ohio just grabbed one. That's great. If you would like a copy of my brand new book, Cancel Proof, you can get one right now at markkaye.com/cancel. Mark, KMARKKAYE.com/cancel. And like I said, as part of the pre-launch special, you get not only the book, but you get the audiobook as well for the low price of only $24. The true story of me and other conservatives like me who were canceled, who were censored, who were deleted, who were doxxed online, who lost everything that they thought they had going and were able to rebuild from the ashes. Business is changing. The Democrat Party, they want to silence you on Facebook. They want to silence you on Twitter. They don't like that Elon Musk is trying to build this brand new social media platform where conservatives can speak freely. They don't like places like Rumble and Getter. They don't like that free speech is starting to bubble up in all of these places, and they're going to try to come after you. But there is a way for conservatives like you, like me, it's a clever way for conservatives to cash in on all of this cancel culture and protect your accounts at the same time. And I wrote it all down in a book, and you get not only the book, but you get the audiobook for $24, and it's worth 10 times that. This is a pre-launch offer. It's going to go away very shortly. So please take a minute, go to markkaye.com/cancel, CANCEL, and pick up a copy for yourself. It's delivered instantly. When you go to markkaye.com/cancel, you get 2 books for one, and you get them both like that. You get them faster than Tim Walz leaves the stage after the VP debate. You will get them instantly delivered to you. And Tim Walz is still walking down the street looking for that pizza parlor. That's how quickly you're going to get them. Listen, thanks to everybody who watched and joined us today. Thank you for all of the comments. Thank you for everybody who subscribed. If you haven't yet subscribed, please take a minute to do that right now. We appreciate you coming back. We have a big weekend plan. We're going to be live every single day this weekend. We're going to go live on Saturday and Sunday. It may not be at noon, and that's the thing I should point. I did say we're going to go live every single day until Election Day, but it's not going to be the same time. For example, if there's a Donald Trump rally, we want to go live for the Donald Trump rally. We'll go early. We'll have like an hour before, a little bit of time afterward. But that's it's a great event that we can kind of double dip. But there's the need and the necessity and the desire for a lot of folks to continue to get information about recent polling, events, what's going on with the world, what's going on with the campaigns, who's lying to you, who's not lying to you. And so because we're in a crunch situation, because we have fewer than 30 days, we are going to make it a point to bring you as much information as we possibly can. And subscribing and setting notifications and listening to this podcast every single day is a great way for you to stay informed, stay enlightened, stay inspired, and stay armed with every tool, every weapon, every piece of knowledge that you need to save the Republic. Save yourself too. Go to markkaye.com/cancel, markkaye.com/cancel, and take advantage of this pre-launch offer.